And I am back like I never left. Wow, what an interesting. So I'm a little bit late. I'm a little bit late today because what it's today's a holiday, so I know that excuse doesn't really work because the holiday is today and not yesterday, and I was supposed to upload yesterday, but things happen, and things happen. So here I am today. So the last time we spoke, I was talking about seizing the moment, essentially. Talking about seeing my mom in the grocery store. She caught me. Then I was telling a story about thing with Miss Blue, and that was all cool. But this time it's a little bit different, and it's funny because it's still kind of family oriented. So this past weekend, I went to visit my aunt and my grandmother, and one of my siblings came, my sister and my mom. We went up there, and it was cool, right? And it's been the first time in a while that a fraction, that I was around a larger fraction of my extended family, cousins and aunts, and that sort of thing. And it was just interesting, just kind of being back in that environment after having not been in that environment for a few years, and it's always it's always it's always interesting to be there, especially in adulthood, because when your child is a certain way, then teenager, things are growing, people are changing, things are, you look back at your life, right, and you can just see how things have shifted. You know, if you have older cousins, I'm on the younger side of my cousins and that sort of thing, but you got older cousins, people are like, oh, just now in their 40s and stuff, right? And it's just like, remembering them when they were 16, you know, 18, 20, just going to college, that whole thing. So the family dynamic is always interesting. So while I was there, there's always a tendency to reminisce, right? I'm sure that other people do this. Families and stuff do this, reminisce or talk about old times or things that used to happen. So one of my younger cousins, being, the baby, as it were, getting the similar treatment that I used to get, and probably that all of us got. Well, maybe not all of us, but I know that I got when I was young like that, right? Doing little stuff, saying little stuff, and then telling stories about it, and everybody's laughing, having a good time, right? And it just makes me think about the angle. From what angle are we looking? Because when you think about that and you think about it that way, it really changes what you're looking at, right? If you're looking at a ball from a 180-degree angle, that's straight ahead, right? But if you're looking at it from a 45-degree angle, it changes it a little bit, right? And if you're looking at it from a third, so when it's talking about like a family dynamic, or you're looking at memories or these sorts of things, just like everybody's not looking at it from the same angle, the same viewpoint, or the same perspective, right? It's different, sometimes very literally, because if you're a child, 4, 5, 6 years old, you're small. Everybody's looking down at you and you're looking up at them. You know what I mean? You're looking up at like a, you know, depending on the size difference, 45 degrees, 70-degree angle. These things, you're literally looking at people from at different, different angles, different perspectives. And I used to do, like, my family would always ask me to do like impressions and stuff, or we would see stuff and they would say, "Oh, Joe, do that thing. Do that thing you saw on TV." And it was interesting to be where I'm at now, and to be in this reminiscent space, this reminiscent energy with this small fraction of my family, and to kind of relive these moments. And I had to explain to my aunt how they would like me to do stuff and they would all laugh at it, but like, and I kind of jokingly said, oh yeah, I've repressed a lot of that, or I've suppressed a lot of those memories. And she's just like, what do you mean? You suppress them or repress them or what? You know? And I was just like, well, because not really. I remember doing it, but it's not a it's not a happy thing for me. I don't get that same joy out of it that you all do or did. And she was still kind of like, oh, really? Like, what happened? And I explained to her that as a child, when it comes to adults talking to you, right? The tendency is to listen because and then and so I have a big family on my mom's side, all these aunts and uncles, and then we go to my grandma's house, their mother's house, all these people here, all these people looking at you, all these people, this pressure to do the thing, whatever it is. And it's like, I didn't like that. It didn't make me feel comfortable. But not only that, when I would do the thing that they would relentlessly ask me to do, oh, do it, then it's just like everybody's laughing. But from the child's angle, from the child view, I didn't have it, I couldn't differentiate you laughing at the thing that I'm doing versus you laughing at me. There was no separation between they're laughing at what I'm doing versus they're laughing at me. I felt like you were laughing at me, not laughing with me. Does that make sense? And I had to explain that to her because, from her perspective, angle, as an adult, even when I was a child, it was just harmless fun, right? Just having some fun. That thing that you do was funny, Johnny. But as a child, I didn't like it. It was uncomfortable. And the really fascinating thing about that is just how different those angles are, but how that's something that I've carried with me my entire life. And how it was one of those things that shaped me in a way. It's like, kind of shaped my, maybe not my personality, but the level of comfort I feel when there's too many eyes on me, asking me to do something. Like, I didn't like being put on spot. Don't put me on the spot. Don't do that. I don't like it. Why don't I like it? Probably stems from that moment, those times when I was young, having all these eyes on me watching, and it said, hey, do that thing that's funny. Don't like it. So it's fascinating to unpack this now with the people that with whom you shared that space, because as an adult, I can articulate my feelings. And there's of course, there's the mutual respect. There's the I'm an adult, you're an adult thing now. It's like, it's not a child talking to an adult. It's two adults speaking. And I can articulate these things and I can explain to you why it was uncomfortable and, and it really, if a person were to keep their heart open, then it's just like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Or maybe I shouldn't force the issue so much, or just be more considerate of the child, because yes, I was 5-6 years old doing that. And here I am 30 years later, still remembering it. You know what I mean? That means I've carried that this whole time. It means it made an impact on me, and it wasn't a positive impact. So when you're interacting with your children, when you're interacting with your nieces, when you're interacting with your nephews or grandchildren, whomever it may be mindful of the angle that you are looking on them, and see if you can see things from their perspective and how it might feel to do the thing that you're asking them to do that they maybe don't want to do. And they might take this embarrassment or this discomfort or this hurt, whatever the thing is, I don't know, but they might take it with them their whole lives and then wonder, where does this come from? From where does this stem? How deeply rooted is this thing? Because it really makes a large difference on their relationships with other people, with other children, or as they grow, um, other adults, whatever the thing is, it changes, their trajectory. And it's really good to be mindful of that because you don't know what course you're putting them on. You really don't understand the impact of your words to a child until they grow up, most of the time, and can articulate what that meant to them, good or bad, or whatever the case may be. It's just how it impacted them. So it was fascinating. And when you spend so much time in introspection and when you're alone and you're just kind of unpacking things the best you can, stuff like this may or may not come up. But when you get around people who, have a better recall of those times because they were already in adulthood or whatever, then it's just like, stuff starts coming back. And it really makes you look at this life experience differently. It makes me more cognizant of how I treat people. I mean, that's kind of who I am anyway, like how I treat people, because I know I like to be treated a certain way, but especially when it comes to children, because you're shaping who they be. And if you want productive, contributing members of society who know how to articulate themselves and know how to talk and can have relationships and in a healthy, impactful way, then you have to build that foundation for them. Make them feel safe expressing themselves, or facilitating an environment in which they can do these things under low stress. Just because it's family doesn't mean it's low stress. The laughter and the expectation and the jokes and the sidebar and all that stuff, especially if you have, a sensitive person, a sensitive child, we catch all that, right? We peep all that. We don't know how to necessarily address it, but it's there. We feel it, and of course not everybody's like this, sure, but it's just one of those things to really be mindful. So that experience was fascinating because I've done so much work on myself the last few years, the last year specifically. Well, not specifically, but a lot of work done this last year. And not having been around certain family members in quite a few years, and just kind of like it really just the understanding of where I've been and just things that I've learned and kind of where I'm going. It really just helps to, when you're able to unpack these things with these people and let them know. But so just be mindful of the angle, be mindful of how you talk to your people, especially how you talk to your little ones, because you never know exactly how you're shaping them. So you just want to be intentional about the energy that you give and the energy that you put off on their behalf. The other thing that's kind of interesting is the other angle is how you see yourself, but how you think other people see you. Or if you feel like they don't see you, which was my thing. And it's, when I think about it, it almost sounds ridiculous. But I still do it. And it's one of the things that I'm realizing I'm going to have to actively, with a concerted effort, stop doing, because I keep misconstruing my relationships. And here's what allow me to explain. There's just a part of me that would oftentimes, very genuinely think that people didn't care, or, well, yeah, they didn't care. Like if I did something, or if I was there, or if I wasn't there, or whatever. And I would make decisions based on this assumption that people didn't actually care if I was there, just as an example. Or that it'll probably be this way or that way. And then when I get to the place, it's just like not even close. You know, there's just so much excitement and happiness, and it's just like, oh, this is unexpected, you know. And it's kind of like there's I kind of feel foolish thinking that this is how it was going to be. And in reality, it's just like totally different. And I don't know where that came from. I don't know from where that stemmed, but it's been there for a long time. So, and it makes me kind of, I'm not going to say regretful, but you know, along that line, like, man, I need to be better about this understanding that, yeah, people care. Maybe it's a defense mechanism. It probably was a defense mechanism. I don't know when I instilled it. It's antiquated for sure, but it was there. And but it's just like, you know, it's not real. And it's not like have an inflated ego or, you know, inflated self, you know, like this inflated sense of self-importance, but again, just looking at the angles, looking at it differently. Like the way I was looking at it, it wasn't good. It wasn't, there was an assumption of the negative in a way. Like, oh, yeah, they don't care if I'm there. They don't care. It's not a big deal. I don't mean not negative, but just not as positive. It's, you know, people notice. People notice when you're not there. They may not say it. They may not always vocalize it or articulate it or say it to you directly, but somebody's asking. And I think just that short stint, you know, hanging out with my family really showed me that, oh, okay, I really need to be better about being intentional with certain things, not assuming that I don't matter to them. You matter to people in ways that you don't even know. So it's okay to make yourself available so that they can find you, so they can reach you. It's really, there's this self-awareness that comes with that, kind of taking a step back and realizing that, you know, that you matter. But this is why I enjoy those moments, because for me there's a lot of learning that comes with it. There's a lot of growth that comes with it, because I'm going to reflect. Even on a family outing, on a family visit, I'm going to reflect, because I'm healing things that have seeped into my foundation, little cracks that I've had in there, had things seep in there, and this is helping me to recalibrate, right? Kind of recalibrate. So talk to your people if you know them. Make yourself available. Assume that they do want you there, because they may not say it to you, but somebody's asking about you. So that's it for this one. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Just a little thought-provoking video for this Sunday, Monday, Sunday, Sunday or Monday, whichever day it is. Sunday. It's Sunday, right? Yeah, it's Sunday. Whatever Sunday it is, you know what I mean? I just forgot to post it. It's all good. No, nobody's tripping. I'm still on track. I'm still posting. Hopefully you all enjoyed the book. If you haven't listened to the audiobook, take a listen to the audiobook. I'll be posting that video this upcoming week. This, you know, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll be Wednesday to posting that part 2 of the book. So look out for that. And yeah, that's gonna be it. I'm getting out of here. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you for watching. Gratitude ad infinitum. I'm Johnny Jupiter. And remember, there is no outro.